Most CVT owners are spending $4,000 to $7,000 on transmission replacements when the fix was free the entire time. There is one habit that destroys more CVTs than bad engineering, bad luck, and defective parts combined. And 99% of owners are doing it right now without knowing. If you were truly confident your CVT was going to last, you would not be watching this right now. Whether you drive a Nissan Rogue, a Honda Civic, a Toyota Corolla, a Subaru Outback, or a Mitsubishi Outlander, this video is about your car. Most people have no idea how different a CVT is from a regular automatic. They treat it the same way, they drive it the same way, and they destroy it the same way without ever knowing what they did wrong. Your dealer told you the fluid is sealed for life. Your manual said no service required. Both of those are wrong, and they are costing people transmissions every day. That one habit is so shocking, your manufacturer actually told you to do it. But it is not the only one. There are 15 habits that are quietly killing CVTs, and we are going to break down every single one. But first, you need to understand one thing about how your CVT actually works, because once you see how fragile this system really is, everything else in this video will make sense. A regular automatic has fixed gears, metal teeth that lock together and transfer power. Strong, forgiving, hard to break. Your CVT has none of that. It uses two pulleys connected by a metal belt made of hundreds of tiny steel plates held together by thin steel bands. These plates do not lock into anything. They transmit power purely through friction. That is it, friction. Think of it like gripping a wet bar of soap between your palms. Squeeze hard enough and it stays put. Ease up just a little and it shoots right out. That is what is happening inside your CVT every second you drive. The belt is the soap. The pulleys are your hands. The hydraulic fluid controls how hard the squeeze is. If that squeeze drops even slightly, the belt slips. That creates heat. Heat destroys the fluid. Bad fluid reduces friction. Less friction means more slipping. It is a death spiral that feeds on itself until something breaks. Not every CVT uses the same design. Subaru's Lineartronic uses a chain instead of a belt. Toyota hybrids use an eCVT with planetary gears and electric motors instead of pulleys. But the core habits in this video, fluid maintenance, heat management, and how you drive, apply to every type. Now that you understand what is happening inside, here are the 15 habits that trigger that spiral. We are starting from 15 and working our way down to the single most destructive one. Habit number 15, neutral dropping. Younger drivers love this one. Experienced mechanics hate it. You pull up to a stoplight, shift into neutral, rev the engine high, then slam it back into drive for a quick launch. On a manual car, the clutch absorbs that shock. Your CVT does not have that cushion. When you slam from neutral into drive at high RPM, you send a massive spike of torque straight into the belt and pulleys. No buffer, no shock absorber, just raw force hitting parts designed for smooth, gradual engagement. Do it once, you might get away with it. Do it regularly, and you are shredding internal components and contaminating your CVT fluid with metal. You are not getting a faster launch. You are buying a new transmission. Habit number 14, aftermarket modifications without recalibration. You bolt on larger tires, add a power mod, or swap internal components, and you think you just upgraded your vehicle. Even something as common as putting bigger tires on your Rogue or Outback counts. You did not upgrade anything. You pushed your CVT outside the calibration it was built for. The factory set your CVT up for a specific engine, specific tires, and specific weight. Change one without adjusting the others, and the belt starts working outside its safe zone. More heat, more slip, more damage. Ask any good tuner, change one variable at a time, measure results, verify RPM behavior matches what the CVT belt can handle. Without recalibration, every mod just shortens the clock on your belt. Habit number 13. Towing your CVT vehicle with the drive wheels on the ground. Most people never think about this until a tow truck driver is loading their car the wrong way. And by then, it is too late. When your engine is off, the oil pump is not running. Zero CVT fluid pressure, zero lubrication, zero protection. If the tow truck lifts the front but leaves the rear wheels rolling on pavement, those wheels force the CVT transmission internals to spin with nothing protecting them. Metal on metal, no oil, nothing. Get it on a flatbed, all four wheels off the ground. For front-wheel drive, the front wheels need dollies. This is not optional. This is the difference between a safe tow and a destroyed transmission. Now here is one most people never even think about. Habit number 12. Neglecting your cooling system. Most CVT owners never connect their radiator to their transmission, but they are directly linked. Transmission fluid gets cooled by a heat exchanger built into your engine radiator. If your radiator is clogged, your fans are failing, or your cooler lines are restricted, your transmission fluid temperature climbs. This is especially common in Nissan Rogues and Pathfinders, where the factory cooling barely keeps up under load, and you already know what happens next. The CVT belt loses grip. The spiral starts. The fix is simple. Keep your radiator clean. Make sure the fans work. Inspect cooler lines, and if you live in a hot climate or tow regularly, add an auxiliary cooler. But remember, a cooler prevents heat damage. It does not fix existing damage. Prevention, not a cure. Habit number 11. Taking your CVT to a shop with no CVT experience. This one hurts because you are trying to do the right thing and it backfires. Most people assume any mechanic can work on any transmission. That assumption can cost you thousands. CVTs need specific manufacturer-approved fluid, not generic ATF. The fill process is specific. Engine has to be running. CVT fluid has to be at the right temperature, and the fill method is nothing like a regular transmission. After service, the computer needs a relearn to adjust to the new fluid. Skip any of those steps, and you make things worse. Here is how you find a good shop. Ask what they check first. If they say the oil pump and hydraulic valves, that is a good sign. Those parts control the pressure that keeps the belt clamped. If they do not mention hydraulic diagnosis, find a different shop. Open up a failed CVT, and you will see the same thing every time. Small slips produce tiny metal flakes. Those flakes clog the circuits that control pressure. Pressure drops further. More slipping, more flakes. The whole system eats itself from the inside. A shop that does not understand this fixes the wrong things and sends you home with a ticking clock. We are about to cross into habits that affect every single CVT owner. Hills, traffic, weather, and some of what comes next will surprise you. Habit number 10. Overloading and towing beyond your limits. Do you actually know your real towing capacity? Not what you think your car can handle, what the numbers actually say once you account for passengers, cargo, and tongue weight. Most people never check. But here is what catches people off guard. Recovery pulls. Your buddy gets stuck in mud and asks you to pull him out. Seems harmless. The force needed to break a stuck vehicle free can be many times greater than rolling a trailer on flat ground. That spike hits the CVT belt instantly. If the clamping cannot hold, the belt slips, heat spikes, and damage happens in seconds. If the load exceeds your rating, use proper recovery equipment or call a tow truck. Your transmission is not worth a favor. Habit number 9. Driving uphill without managing engine load. Driving uphill will not damage your CVT, but there is a massive difference between climbing at moderate speed and holding the throttle wide open on a long grade with cruise control fighting to maintain highway speed. Cruise control is the danger. On long uphills, it pushes more throttle as the grade gets steeper, dumping heat into the transmission without any awareness that things are getting critical. Your foot on the throttle gives you feedback about how hard the engine is working. Cruise control removes that feedback entirely. Slow down before the climb. Use manual modes to control RPM. Turn off cruise control the moment you see a long uphill grade. If you regularly drive steep routes, treat it as severe duty. Shorter fluid intervals, extra cooling, those are smart decisions. Habit number 8. Demanding full power before your transmission warms up. When you start your car on a freezing cold morning and immediately floor it onto a highway ramp, pay attention. Cold CVT fluid is thick and sluggish. The system cannot build full clamping pressure as quickly as when everything is warm. Gun it before the pulleys can grip and the belt slips. That slip glazes the contact surfaces and starts the damage cycle. One cold start will not kill your transmission, but hundreds of aggressive cold starts over years eat away at your safety margin until there is none left. 30 seconds to a minute of idle time. Gentle driving for the first few minutes. That brief patience protects your belt from years of stress. In winter, wheel spin on ice creates uneven loads that generate extra heat and wear. Keep traction control on. Use proper winter tires. That is the single most important winter factor, not driving mode. Tires. If you drive something like a Honda CR-V with AWD, the electronic system helps distribute torque. But tires still matter more than any driving mode. This next one happens every single day, and most people have no idea they are doing it. Habit number 7. Shifting between drive and reverse without fully stopping. You pull out of a parking spot. Before the car fully stops, you shift into reverse, or you shift from reverse to drive while the car still has backward momentum. Every internal part is spinning one direction. Force the opposite direction while they still have momentum, and you create collisions between components going opposite ways. Localized heating, grinding wear, metal shredding. Come to a complete stop before changing direction. Every single time. 1 second of patience. That is all it takes. Habit number 6. Aggressive driving in stop and go traffic. Every time you accelerate from a stop, your CVT has to engage, build pressure, and transmit torque all over again. On the highway, you do this once and cruise. In stop and go traffic, you do it 200 times in a single commute. The danger is not any single launch. The danger is volume. Tens of thousands of extra stress events every year. Over years, it is the difference between a CVT that lasts 200,000 miles and one that dies at 80,000. Drive smoothly. Gradual acceleration. No jackrabbit launches. Let the transmission build pressure instead of demanding full torque instantly. You cannot avoid traffic, but you can control how you drive in it. Habit number 5. Misusing neutral and engine braking. Two opposite mistakes connected by the same misunderstanding. Coasting in neutral does not save fuel. When you coast in drive with your foot off the gas, many modern engines cut fuel flow to 0. The wheels keep the engine spinning, so no fuel is needed. Shift to neutral, and the engine has to idle on its own. Idling requires fuel. The habit people use to save money is costing them money. But fuel is not even the biggest problem. In neutral, you lose engine braking. Your brakes do all the work. More wear, more heat. On long downhills, brake fade. In emergencies, you cannot accelerate instantly. And if you drive a hybrid, you are throwing away free regenerative energy every time you coast in neutral. The other side. Engine braking does not damage your CVT when used normally. Where it becomes a concern is forcing the lowest gear at high speeds for long stretches. Use engine braking on downhills. Leave it in drive for everything else. We are in the top 4 now. These are the habits that truly separate owners who keep their CVTs alive from the ones writing a check for $7,000. Habit number 4. Improper CVT fluid service. Getting the fluid changed is only half the job. Get it done wrong, and you are worse off than before. The most common mistake is using the wrong fluid. CVT fluid is not regular ATF. They look the same, but work completely differently. Put conventional ATF into your CVT, and the belt will not grip properly. Nissan NS3 fluid is not Honda HCF2 fluid. Subaru CVT fluid is different from both. You need the exact fluid for your specific vehicle. No exceptions. An aggressive power flush on a high-mileage CVT that has never been serviced can break loose years of buildup and push it into passages where it causes blockages. Worse performance after the flush than before. The safer approach is a staged drain and fill. Warm the transmission, drain some old fluid, refill with correct fluid, drive, and repeat. Each cycle dilutes old fluid gradually. After any service, the computer needs a relearn. Skip that, and it fights the new fluid instead of working with it. And aftermarket additives, if your CVT needs help, the answer is correct fluid and a specialist, not a bottle from an auto parts store. Habit number 3. Ignoring early warning signs. Habit 3 costs people more money than any other on this list, and the fix is almost always cheap if you catch it early. Have you ever noticed a shudder when you accelerate? RPMs that jump and catch? A faint whining sound? Most people dismiss those signs. That decision to wait might be the most expensive mistake you can make as a CVT owner. RPM bouncing during cruising means the clamping is struggling. A shudder is the belt losing grip. A delay from park to drive means pressure problems. A burnt smell means the fluid is breaking down. The window to fix these is narrow. Catch them early, and it is a fluid service. Wait too long, and it escalates into contamination, overheating, and failure that costs more than the car is worth. Not every symptom that looks like slipping is the transmission. Misfires, dirty throttle bodies, and electrical issues can feel exactly the same. Sometimes all it takes is a software update to the transmission computer. Rule out the simple stuff first. But when your CVT is genuinely telling you something is wrong, listen. Do not wait. Early action costs a fraction of what waiting costs. Every single time. Habit number 2. Aggressive full throttle launches from a stop. Light turns green. You floor it. In a traditional automatic, the torque converter cushions the blow. In a manual, the clutch absorbs it. In a CVT, there is no cushion at the main friction point. When you floor it from a stop, engine torque hits the belt at its most vulnerable position. The pulleys are at their widest ratio with the smallest contact area. If clamping cannot match the surge, the belt slips. Surfaces glaze. Each slip makes the next one more likely. Cold launches are worse. Cold CVT fluid is thick. The system responds slowly. The gap between when you demand torque and when the system can deliver grip is where the most damage happens. Brake launching, holding the brake while revving then releasing, is extremely destructive. The startup clutch is forced to slip under high load while standing still. If you want a spirited start, make sure everything is warm. And if you regularly want hard launches, a CVT is not the right tool. And now we arrive at habit number 1, the single most destructive thing you can do to a CVT, the one that kills more CVTs than every other habit combined. And the shocking part, your manufacturer might have told you to do it. Habit number 1, never changing your CVT fluid. The sealed for life myth has destroyed more CVTs than aggressive driving, bad towing, and wrong fluid put together. Not even close. Nissan put Jacko-sourced CVTs in the Altima, the Sentra, the Rogue, the Murano, the Pathfinder, and told owners the fluid was lifetime. No service required. Millions believed it. The result was one of the biggest waves of transmission failures in modern automotive history. Class action lawsuits, extended warranties, entire forums dedicated to failed CVTs. But sealed for life means the CVT fluid will last for the warranty life of the transmission, not the life of the car. The warranty life, often 60 to 100,000 miles. If your transmission fails at 110,000, it lasted its lifetime by their definition. Your car still has years of life left. That is not their problem. No CVT fluid lasts forever. Every mile you drive, it degrades from heat and friction. Metal particles build up. The fluid gradually loses the grip and pressure the belt needs. That is physics. No marketing claim changes physics. When owners never change their fluid, the result is predictable. Nissan owners started seeing failures between 80 and 120,000 miles. Honda and Subaru CVTs tend to last longer, but they are not immune either. By the time symptoms appear, the damage is extensive. The repair often costs more than the vehicle is worth. A CVT fluid service costs a few $100s. A replacement costs $4,000 to $7,000. For older vehicles, a failed CVT often exceeds the car's total value. A few hundred every 25,000 miles versus thousands when the promise fails. That math is not complicated. Change your CVT fluid every 20 to 30,000 miles, regardless of what the manual says. For towing, hot climates, or heavy city driving, shorten that interval. Use the correct fluid. Follow the correct procedure. Document everything. CVTs are not bad transmissions. Take care of them, and they are smooth, efficient, and reliable. But they are less forgiving than regular automatics. They need clean fluid, the right pressure, and they cannot handle heat. Let any of that slip and the bill comes fast. Pick one habit from this list, the one you know you are guilty of. Fix it today, not tomorrow, today. The Sealed for Life label on your CVT fluid is not a maintenance schedule. It is a marketing claim. Change your fluid, pay attention to your transmission, and drive like you understand what is happening inside it, because now you do. If this video helped, share it with someone who drives a CVT. Drop a comment telling me which habit surprised you most. I read every one. Subscribe, and thanks for watching.